All right, welcome back to Heard It Here. I'm Kaylee Mason, your host and beef advocate. With me today, I've got Don Edwards. He is a 3-time consigner with us this year for our bull sale and test. So Don, tell us and our listeners about your operation, kind of the history behind it, a little bit of what you told our class a little bit ago.
Okay, so I'm owner and operator for Hyde Gelbvieh. I'm the third generation on there. Started in the 1990s with purebred Gelbvieh cattle, and we're getting into the Gelbvieh and the Balancer lineup. The cattle side of things, I bring bulls down here every year just so I can see what kind of cow data I can get off of there and breeding decisions and stuff. And so I keep bringing bulls down here every year because you guys do a good job.
Well, thank you. We're grateful that you bring them every year. Where did you hear about our bull test and sale, and what kind of made you decide to start bringing them to us?
A couple of fellow Gelbvieh breeders, one of them was in St. Francis. He actually recommended me to call down here to the college to see if they still had the bull sale program going. And that's where I got a hold of Adelaide's number, and I talked to her early in the year, and she said she would be interested in bringing some bulls down, and so I brought 4 bulls down the first year, and then kind of got set in the process on after that. So, and this will be my 3rd year here. So,
And over the 3 years, what kind of an impact has the GrowSafe test and the bull sale done for your operation, and what have you seen from it?
The GrowSafe data, all 3 years has kind of proved my feed efficiency. I'm maintaining my feed efficiency there no matter what genetics I'm bringing down, whether it's calving East bulls or high growth bulls, carcass bulls. Where I do see a difference in the feed efficiency is the higher growth bulls. They do require a few more pounds because they're typically bigger, they're growing faster, have higher rates of gain. But on the genetic side of things, I have completely flip-flopped my situation around on the AI side to, I had bulls picked out that I thought was really good bulls to use. And after the first year worth of GrowSafe data, I found out that my decisions was completely wrong. So I had to select a different group of bulls to AI2 to be bringing in those genetics to be getting the higher growth with the carcass and still being able to maintain the maternal merit on the cattle side. Mm-hmm. So it has impacted my decisions greatly on my operation and changed it. And you still see what you're doing good, but you're really seeing what you're doing bad and need to change. So it's beneficial data that we've gotten off of the GrowSafe data.
Sure. Well, that's great. I'm glad that's been able to help you kind of improve your operation, and especially because you had to restart. Mm-hmm. We were talking about that a little bit when my classmates were here, where you unfortunately had to disperse and have had to restart. But with this new data that you've been getting, you are really honed in on the numbers of it, and you're really fascinated by the DNA. And so going off of that, what do you look for to improve your operation?
What I look for is, the first thing that I look for is I want a live calf, no matter what. So you got to have a calving East number in there. You got to have a birth weight number, and that varies depending on the size of cattle that you run. I typically run about 1,300 pound cows, so my numbers are a little bit where if I get an 85 pound calf out of a first calf heifer, I'm kind of stressing a little bit because that heifer is not going to be as big. She's going to be, right there about 1,050 pounds when she's calving her first calf and growing into that calf. But whereas other people with 1,600 pound cows, an 85 pound calf is probably an average to a smaller calf. That's where it starts, is a live calf on the ground. That's how you start making money. Every live calf has a value to it. The calving ease and the birth weight, it plays a big factor into that, because if you're getting too high of birth weights or you're getting too low of birth weights, then you're starting to get into death loss. So then after that, once that calf is alive on the ground, we got to have the maternal merit to have that backing on that calf. We have to have a good producing cow that's going to be throwing some milk, keeping her body condition up, rebreeding back, and starting the process all over again, all while raising this calf into a calf to wean off at the fall of the year. And then that calf there, we breed them for the growth and the carcass scores on them, on those calves, so we can get a higher growth calf. We get them put on feed, they're getting to their end point as quick as possible. So those are the kind of the breeding decisions that we're making now. I also run a fixed time AI with the 7 and 7 cedar off the Iowa Beef Task Force. Our conception rates are extremely good. The last couple of years has been good, 87 to 100% conception rate. The first year was 75%, so we've tweaked some things on there, but it's a little more work, but it has paid off tremendously, especially for a smaller operation. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
Yeah. Do you see yourself continuing to add to your herd as far as the replacements? I know you said you keep replacements, but are you wanting a bigger herd, or are you trying to keep it small and really focus on genetics?
I'm currently in an expansion stage. I am expanding. I'm not to my full point yet. I will be looking to expand as much as I possibly can. I have a couple of younger girls, and if they decide to carry on the farm, that's something that I would like to pass down to them. But for myself, I would like to expand up to where I can get to a full point and then maybe keep going after that. I do save back a lot of my replacement heifers just because of the fact I know the cow families, and bringing the bulls down here, I have the data on those cow families that are proven as far as the carcass numbers that they produced, the bulls that they produced, the weights, all of that kind of stuff. Now I can carry that data into those heifers and say, this heifer, if she's going to be a high growth heifer, I know for sure 100% that this is going to be because I brought 2 bulls down here and it showed the growth rates of those bulls. I can kind of select my heifer selection a little bit better and have more confidence in retaining those heifers back into the herd.
Mm-hmm. When my classmates were here, someone had brought up, how does the bull sale impact your operation as far as the genetics? Like, do you see your genetics getting out there? Do you see a lot of repeat buyers of your bulls? Yeah,
so the first year I was here, I brought down 4 bulls. The second year I only had 2. This year I brought down 3. I had a repeat buyer off of year 1 and year 2 on a red bull basis, which was completely surprising for me because I'm kind of in black territory. So a lot of the guys there have black cows. And so I was kind of surprised with that number there. And thank you. I hope he comes back and buys for a 3rd year. But yeah, I have seen the genetics increasing. This year I have an AI sired calf that's in the sale. Really high growth, really good carcass bull. Not a heifer bull. He's only cows. But he's going to, I think his progeny is going to grade really well on a rail and have a really high carcass weight on them. So just off of the numbers from the GrowSafe data that I've gotten back on that bull itself, it's made a big difference from my natural service calves. My natural service calves are kind of maternal, medium growth, pretty decent on the carcass side, but a little smaller frame. This bull is a lot bigger frame and kind of carries into that. But a lot of my bulls are strung all over in western Kansas. So I'm getting some spread with my name and my genetics getting out there, and which is huge for a small guy coming out of Colorado. Colorado's not the most favorite state, but short grass country up there. I think my cattle will blend in really well with the western Kansas environment, western Nebraska environment, or even southeastern Colorado environment because of the short grass. They've been raised on short grass and they have the feed efficiency to go and do good things on short grass country. So
you had said earlier that you like to kind of compare your data against another consignor's Gelbvieh data. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
So everybody knows Post Rock is here. He's an alum of the college. Leland, he's a pretty good guy. Him and I kind of have the same ideological theories about how to run stuff, and we keep striving to make stuff better. He has a pretty big operation, runs it really well. He's in a lot of the national shows, a lot of the national sales, goes to Oklahoma City all the time, goes to Denver. He has his own bull sale. So it's something that I would like to mimic and kind of maybe get to that point. I probably won't ever be as big as he is, but he's a good role model to be kind of following along. And hopefully my cattle, if he might see something that might stands out that might help his operation, you never know. But it's not just the Gelbvieh breed either. There's Charolais, there's Key Angus in here. There's Angus bulls in here too that I can compare my bulls against them, and every breed has something good and every breed has something bad. And so you kind of need to take the good with the bad and weigh the averages out. I know the Gelbvieh side has good maternal, but they kind of lack a little bit on the carcass side. That's where you bring in the balancer side of things from the Angus side. If you can get a good carcass Angus bull to bring into the Gelbvieh lineup, you could have good motherability on that calf through the calf's first part of its life, and then you could have a good carcass when he goes to the rail. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. So that's kind of why I like to compare the data on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Going with that then, with you wanting to model him, obviously with him being a bigger operation, he still decides to come and do the bull test and see where even his genetics and data is at. Do you think you'll continue to come every year for the bull test, or do you think you'll get to a point where like, my genetics are perfect, I'm not going to go anywhere else?
There's no such thing as perfect genetics. There's no such thing as perfect cow or a bull, either one. But I think as long as the performance on the data side of it is maintaining, and Adelaide does an excellent job making sure everything, all functions of the bull sale, the bull test, the grow safes, everything is working and going well. And I mean, there's going to be things that happens, little things like, one year I didn't put in the EID tag correctly and lost it. So I lost a little bit of data there. That's my fault. So things like that happens. But as far as I'm concerned, the data that I'm getting off of these bulls, they're impacting my operation and my decisions so much that they're actually making me put more thought into what I'm doing. And then that brings in some more curiosity. Did I make the right decision or did I not? So there's a really good possibility that I will be coming back year after year, just like Leland. I'm not an alumni of Colby Community College, but I like the data so much that I'm reinforcing the decisions that I'm making with the data that you guys are proving.
Sure.
One bad decision could really ruin 2 years. And that's just on one cow. If you made that decision, like if you did a bull and you wasn't doing an AI program, if you make a bad decision on one bull, you just cost yourself 2 years plus replacements if you retain your own heifers. So you are losing a lot of money. Depending on how big the operation is, it makes a big influence and you have a huge impact on that. So one bad decision could be detrimental. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And go to Judd Ranch too. I mean, they run a pretty flawless sale back there, but they got numbers in their book. I don't even remember how many pages, but they're selling 327 bulls this year.
Wow.
And it's a 3.5 hour sale, and it's constant in and out right there at the ranch. So definitely something to, if you got some free time, go look at it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I definitely will. I was going to ask you that if you, obviously you've bought from Judd, you're one of their repeat buyers. Do you go to other sales just to kind of look at what they're bringing in or?
Well, this time of year, I'm in a love-hate relationship with bull sale catalogs because there's always, every catalog has a bull in there that you want. And every catalog has a bull in there that you don't want. But usually this time of year, just to keep fresh with the breed and way the trends are going, that's the easiest way to look is through a bull sale catalog. What reference sires do they have listed for their bulls? What bulls do they have? What percentage of bulls are out of this sire alone? And you can see what the trends are. And that's not saying that you got to follow those trends. Those trends sometimes could be misleading. Mm-hmm. So then it's up to you to do your own research off of that. Go, well, maybe this trend here is a little off key. Maybe I better research it. It might be the next best thing. You never know. So this time of year, whether I'm buying a bull or not, I'm in a love-hate relationship because I'm still skimming all the bull sale catalogs.
So when you're going through bull sale catalogs and kind of deciding what your next step is going to be, do you have anybody you consult? Do you talk to Leland?
I've talked to Leland a few times. Typically, I go through the catalog and I find I have a highlighter. I highlight bulls that I think is going to help my operation first. Me being a buyer, I have to look at, they don't know what my operation is, what kind of cattle I have, where I need help, where I don't need help. So I go through and I pick out bulls, mark them with a highlighter and go, yep, this bull would work for my operation. Then I turn around and I call the company or the ranch, whoever is doing the consulting for them, and I start asking questions. Judd Ranch, they have Roger Gates that does all the consulting. He does all the AIing, all the breeding, all the embryo transfer stuff. He does a lot of those decisions right there. When I call him and ask him about a bull, first thing I ask is about docility. Is this bull, am I going to be able to have my 2 young daughters around this bull? If he says, no, that bull's out, go to the next bull. Docility on that one. If he passes the docility, how about feet and legs? If he passes feet and legs, then we go to scrotal. If he passes the scrotal side, then we go into calving ease and the carcass and all that, and then the genealogy behind that. And he's straight up. I mean, it's probably a 20-minute phone call, and we go through 15 head of bulls. And when I get done talking to him, I know which bull I'm going to buy. So that's kind of how I do that. But I do call out to the ranches and I ask for specific information after I've picked out and done my own research out of a catalog.
I know you said if you talk to your dad about it, he just goes off of looks. So does he not look at the data very well?
Yeah, he gets lost in numbers. Dad is not a numbers guy. He just, he's one of those guys that looks at a picture and goes, yeah, he's pretty, or yep, he's growing. And that's about the amount of what I get out of there. When it comes down to the actual numbers on the genealogical side of it, I'm the numbers guy on that, and he doesn't care. He could care less if it's calving ease or not. But yeah, that's his input into it.
Mm-hmm. So then where did you kind of pick up on that interest in the numbers?
It started way back when. I was always trying to, if you're going to take the time to produce something, you might as well take your time and try to produce the best that you can. And it might not be the best. There's no such thing as being perfect, but there's no reason why you can't strive for perfection. So if you got your base starting out, which is a calving ease, low birth weight cattle herd, there's no reason why I can't go into a higher growth number and try to at least maintain that maternal side of things. Then if I can get a little bit more growth, let's go on ahead and add in some more carcass, or let's breed a bull in that has a little more growth and a lot more carcass. And we can adjust off of that, because I want to start with a live calf and then grow that calf. And the mom has to grow the calf for the first 5 months of its life to get to 205 days. Once that weans, then it's up to me. So I want a calf that's going to grow easily, have feed efficiency, have the higher growth on it, but I want that cow to be bred back by the time she comes off to where she's not losing any days. She's actually gaining 30 days. That's kind of my viewpoint on bringing those bulls in.
Mm-hmm. So something you had touched on and kind of explained to my classmates, I can't quote it because I don't know how exactly you said it, but my note says you had said that bulls are an investment and heifers are a liability. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So an old man, when I was pretty small, I don't even know if I had cows yet, but he told me that the bull is the biggest investment you'll make and your cows are the liabilities. The cows, they stay at home and you're feeding them all the time, but they are producing your calves, but you're liable for those cows. When you buy a bull, you are making an investment. You want to try to increase your cattle herd. You want to try to increase your weaning weights. You want to try to increase your grading on the rail. So that bull is going to be your biggest investment to change your cattle herd in the quickest time possible. If you go and sell off all your cows and you turn around and buy back all open heifers and breed them the way that you want them, you've lost a year and a half. You've lost 2 calf crops off of those heifers until you get to where you're getting some cash coming back in. Whereas you're retaining those heifers back in off of the bull investments that you've already made, and that bull is going to breed those. The next bull, you do another investment to increase the genetics on those heifers, and it just keeps proceeding. So a bull will actually turn around your cow crop or calf crop in half as much time minimum as what a cow will. He had a theory that you're retaining your cows for 10 years before you sell them off, whereas a bull you're retaining for 4 and selling him off. So there's 2.5 times right there. So that bull is going to be your biggest investment, because in 1 year's time, you're going to be seeing his progeny hitting the ground. So the old timers, they have some tricks up their sleeves, and it's really worth listening to them.
Something I'd asked you while my classmates were here too was the kind of technology side of things. What is your kind of view on technology and how it's advancing? Do you like the way it's going? What do you implement in your operation technology-wise?
Technology-wise, we go through the TSU samples every year at branding time. Every calf is DNA'd. The steer calves aren't DNA'd, I guess, but all the bulls and the heifers that comes through the chute, they're DNA'd, and that just goes back to supporting the registry numbers on the cow side of things. The Gelbvieh Association went to the 700X program on there, Geneseek, through Geneseek. Angus and Red Angus did the same thing. I think that data is extremely proven and well worth it, especially on the TSU side of things, because they can actually extract that genetic chromosome that they want, whether it's homozygous polled or homozygous black, and determine if that's a true number or not. So that kind of technological advance is a good thing. The GrowSafe data is really well. It has been proven year after year. This is my 3rd year for it, and the numbers come out really good. I can't say as I'm surprised by a lot of the numbers that my bulls produce off of that GrowSafe data, but they are extremely relatable to what I thought those bulls would do. So I think it's proven product too. Some of the newer technology come out. I think you gotta see some proof in it first. You gotta look up the research part that they did. I'm not going to come out with a new product and just say, try this. This is going to help you out. How many people is going to believe that? Not probably very many. If you have the research to back up that data side of it, then you'll get a few customers here, and then eventually the word will start traveling. So as far as my operation goes, I don't have the GrowSafes except for when I bring the bulls down to here. The genetic side, just the sampling, that's all I run as far as the higher tech stuff.
And has that helped you also improve your operations? Like, do you take that data compared to what you get here from the bulls?
Yeah, so a lot of that data that I use off of those, I use more off of heifer retention. Heifer retention, those numbers are critical for me. Because they are exact numbers. So those exact numbers is what plays a polling place where I keep a heifer or I sell the heifer. I retain all my own heifers, and that is the last decision that I make, is whether I keep that heifer or not because of the DNA sample. So those numbers there are actually more accurate numbers than what I could get off of an average off of a pedigree.
Have you always done that with your herd, or when did you start doing that?
So I started DNA 6 years ago. Started with hair cards, and then I moved to blood samples, and then I went to the TSUs 4 years ago. 4 years ago was when I decided that the TSUs was probably the better option to go, just because you get like a hair sample, you could have dirt in there, mess up the sample. Maybe you're getting an accurate reading, maybe you're not. There's always that little bit of doubt in there. Same thing with a blood sample. Depends on where you pull it. You know, some of the vets, they go higher up in the tailhead, some go a little bit lower, but it's always in that tailhead. But is there dirt on the needle? Was the needle clean? Did they use the same syringe? Is there any contamination on there? Whereas a tissue sample that's right out of the ear into the vial, done. So I'm confident that that is going to be more accurate than what a hair card or a blood sample would be.
So that is all for this episode of Heard It Here. I'm Kaylee Mason, and Don, thank you very much for joining us on the show and coming to talk to students, and thank you for being a consigner